Welcome to the episode number unknown. It is early, and not early, it's morning, and I'm in the Tahoe, which probably suggests that something is up. What is up? What is up is a very, very slight, very small home building project. Building is a bit of a home maintenance, a home improvement, a home. I'm going to the hardware store and I'm buying some wood. I'm going to frame up there's some windows in the basement that at some point in the past the trim was taken down, and now it's time to put the trim back up. That's pretty much it. It is foggy, if you can see out the windows. It is foggy, but we will prevail. We will make it through the fog to the hardware store. That's pretty much the plan. Meaningful moment in this episode. Let's get to that, but first I've got to drive. Coming to a meaningful place in this video, it seems like it would be a waste of situation not to talk about the fog, and not to talk about sort of the metaphor that being in the fog is that that state of not knowing what to do, that state of confusion. It seems to settle in around you and seems to just make the prospects of the future seem, utterly confusing. I said that how many times, but that's what the fog is. Being confused by what to do, being confused by where to go, being uncertain. There are a couple of principles about the fog that I'd like to address real quickly. One is, if you have a pretty good confidence in the destination that you set out on, but yet you can't see how to get to the final place from where you are because the fog is so dense, you proceed carefully and cautiously on the path that you're sure of. If you know that this is a path that you're supposed to be on, you keep going until you have some reason to think that you're on the wrong path. So that's the first thing. The other aspect of the fog is that usually it is a temporary situation. Being confused and being unsure is a state that comes because you don't have enough information. You don't have enough data. You haven't put enough time, or the right situations haven't come to pass for you to become clear on what to do. And what I can say about that is that the passing of time and the marking off of distance, putting distance between you and the confusing situation, oftentimes will lead to a clarity. Oftentimes will lead to the fog lifting. Give it some time, put some distance between you and the moment of confusion, and a lot of times that uncertainty will clear up. A lot of times that fog will lift. And as I was making this drive, obviously that's exactly what happened. The fog cleared up and the fog lifted. All right, let's go buy some supplies and let's look at the next meaningful message in this episode, the next meaningful moment, if you will. But we've got to get some supplies, and I got a text while I was driving to get some cleaner or garbage bags or something. I'll have to check that out. But it's time to do some shopping, and I want to go back to the tools. I want to reprise a conversation from a previous video in which we talked about the right tool for the job. Having the right tool is an essential aspect sometimes of success. So we want to talk about that a little bit as we roam our way through the hardware store looking for some boards and some trims and things like that. A long time ago, I took a class, and it was a techniques class, a counseling techniques class. And one of the students asked a question, something to the effect of, well, why should we learn all these different techniques? And the professor said, well, some techniques and some problems tend to go together really well. Because if you don't know all the techniques, if you haven't learned all the techniques, then if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I thought that was a pretty good analogy. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So if you only know one particular method for cycling through a computer program, everything you try is going to look like it needs that particular, let's call it a loop, if we want to be programming wise. If you're trying counseling, you know, if you only know one technique, and someone comes with depression, another person comes with anxiety, and another person comes with behavior problems, if you only know one technique, that's all you've got, and you're going to use the same technique on all three problems, whether or not that's the best technique for dealing with that problem, or whether something else would be better or not. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. There are tools out there in the world that are good for different things. Spreadsheets are different than word processors. But if you don't know how to use a spreadsheet, if all you know how to do is use the word processor, everything's going to look like a word processing problem. That's a very, very important concept. Sometimes you can try to use the wrong tool for the job, and sometimes it will work and sometimes it won't. I was trying to do something yesterday where I needed to get a wire through one hole and out another hole, and the holes were about 5 feet apart, and there was insulation behind the wall where I was trying to run the hole. Now in the past, in past attempts to push wires through the wall, I've sometimes been able to push the wire through the wall. That's not the right technique, but sometimes it works, and in the past I've been successful. I've been able to push enough wire through one hole to be able to reach it in the other hole. The proper technique is to use something called a fish tape, where you push this very flexible but yet very stiff metal. It's a little metal wire, but it's wide and flat. They call it a fish tape. You push that through the one hole, and then you can find it in the other hole and pull your wire back the other way. I tried and tried and tried to push the wire through the hole, but the insulation was so robust that I just couldn't do it. And ultimately, after a long period of time of not using the right tool, I broke down. I went to the hardware store and I bought the right tool. And as soon as I bought the right tool, guess what? Second try with the correct tool, I was successful. All the time I spent trying to do it the wrong way was wasted time. If I had stopped in the first place and had the right tool to start with, then the job would have been far more successful and far more quick to finish. Having the right tool for the job, sometimes it makes a difference between success and not success. It always makes a difference between the ease of success and the difficulty of getting to the same results. So that's my tool metaphor. If you ever want to put pressure on yourself, turn the camera on and try to load, the car. All right, shopping done. Meaningful moments made. Probably time to go home and cut some lumber and stuff. So this is one of my great mysteries of life. Great life mysteries. Those are the trucks off of a train, on the back of a train. And it is my opinion that if the cheapest way to move the wheels for a train is not on a train, then there is something is wrong somewhere. The place where they make the wheels should have a siding or a place to load train. I don't know. I just feel like something is wrong somewhere if the wheels for a train get moved by a truck. That's all. Fog and the right tool. Give yourself some time and the fog will possibly clear. Give yourself some time, put some energy into whatever it is you're doing, and see if time doesn't make a difference. Tools. Do you have the right tool for the job? If not, go get it. If you're trying to be a computer programmer, learn some code that you haven't yet learned that'll make your life easier. If you work in an environment where you need to create documents, learn how to use spreadsheets and word processors and all that other stuff. All right, I think I made my point. Right tool for the job. Seatbelt on. That way there's a better chance of seeing you in the next episode. I'm out. All right, postscript to the metaphor. If you return to the place and the circumstances and the situation in which you were confused and unsure, if you return to that place, the possibility is you'll be confused and unsure again. Hashtag relationship. Hashtag, I don't know, life, something. Fog. The fog.